Well, how in the World Wide Web are you fine, lovely people that I can't see because I'm looking at a camera lens, but you always act like you can? How are you? My name is Kevin Kolbe, and I'm with KevinKolbe.com, and this is Behind the Live. It's a weekly show I do with my good friends at Ecamm. In fact, Katie Fox is going to join us in a little bit. I think the last time she was on, I tried to act all sly and like I was going to not, and this special guest, and I said Katie, and kind of blew the whole thing. If you ever give me a present, I'm really good at keeping secrets for presents, but this show is powered by Ecamm Live, the absolute, positively, hands down best way to live stream on a Mac. If you want to try it out 14 days for free, there's a link down in the description. I highly recommend you do that. Now, I realize that there's not everybody on a Mac, and why? I don't get it. So don't hate me for that. We're just kind of stating fact here. But today we've got kind of a cool show. I'm really excited about this. So I'm going to take you behind the live, kind of getting meta there, and show you a little bit about how the setup is and how that works. And last week, if you saw my interview with Glenn, which was phenomenal, and he was good too. I'm just joking. It was good, and I meant to put a link before this down in the description. I'll put a link to that because he was talking a lot about how Ecamm works, features. We talked about the interview feature, and for a brief moment, I took you to what's called the live demo mode. But today, I thought, well, why not actually kind of show you a lot of behind the scenes of kind of what I see when I'm doing this because my monitor's over there. And I want to show you behind the scenes of what I see when I'm actually going live. So it's kind of like, I started to say like Wizard of Oz, but it's nothing like that. That was actually really scary, even though the flying monkeys were cool as I got older. It's a different show. But you'll see kind of how scenes work and things like that. And that's one of the reasons that I asked Katie if she would come on, so you can kind of see how it works with the interview and things like that. So if you are not, sorry, I got an eyelash, special guest star. If you are not using Ecamm, if you are thinking of getting into live streaming, or maybe you just kind of, tiptoed to the waters of live streaming, put your toe in, and that's it. I don't know what that means. Then I think you'll get a kick out of this. Now, look, I'm just gonna be straight up honest. I am not an OBS fan, and I know there's a lot of folks that use OBS, and it's free. But my word, it's just like, I don't want to have like a degree in rocket science, which is nothing wrong with that, by the way, to have to figure it out. And that's why I love Ecamm. It's just, it's easy. And there are other options out there too, but for the Mac, I think Ecamm is the best. So let's do this little show we call Behind Live. By the way, if you are joining us from wherever you're joining us today, we are multicasting this show on Ecamm Live and KevinKolbe.com. Not to KevinKolbe.com, it's my website, on my YouTube channel. I would love it if you find anything valuable today. Hit that subscribe button on both channels. We're not greedy, but we got kids to feed. and that would be absolutely phenomenal. And if you have any questions, drop those in the comments. They can be about Ecamm, they can be about live streaming, they can be about my hair. Throwing it out there. Let us know where you're from, but we'd love to hear those comments. So, gonna do something special today. I'm actually gonna go to my second camera. By the way, I've completely changed my live stream, my desk setup since the last time we probably did this show. So I think that's something I'm going to do a whole nother video on, is how I've got my camera set up, my computer set up, and everything like that. So that's why everything is off to my right, and that's why when I keep saying that, I'm motioning that. So right now I want to switch to this camera. Did you like that? Watch this. Ready? And no charge for that, by the way. So just so if you're keeping score at home, and there would be no reason to keep score at home, this is my Canon M6 Mark II, and this is in 4K right now. So the whole thing's in 4K, but it is literally set to 4K, and I'm going through a cam link to get to Ecamm. This is my Canon M50, and I'm using a USB cable. That's it, just to get to Ecamm. And now this one is, I think right now I've got it set for, what do I got it set for? Maybe, I don't think I'm in 4, no, I'm not in 4K on this one. I'm at 30 frames, and all of this is far more techie than I like to get, but that's the way we go. And so, by the way, we got, oh, look at this. Truth Still Matters. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Kevin, I'm reading that. How are you, bud? Glad to have you here. Wayne Roberts in the house. Wayne, good to see you. And my buddy, Breast Cancer Sip and Chat with Queen Bee. Hey, Kevin, good to see you. And let me see. Visual Notion says, I wear glasses, and what is your lighting setup to eliminate the shadow from the glasses? That's a great question. Here's the trick. The lights are up higher than me and slanting down. That's the key. I can tell you this much. If you wear glasses and you have a ring light, I know a lot of folks love ring lights, and they're great, but there's just no way you're going to get rid of that. If you have glasses, you're going to see that. You can actually see it in people's eyes. It's kind of cool. But that's my trick. Visual Notion is that I have the lights up higher and slanted down, and I also don't have them at the same intensity. So like this one is brighter than the one I've got over here. So, but I appreciate you asking that. That may be something I do from that. Ruth said, hey, from Limburg. Good to see you. And then we've got this question from Ted. If we were using Ecamm Live for local recording, is there a way to save each of the video feeds as separate files for post-editing? I'm going to let Katie answer that, but I think the answer is yes. So when here's for example. So I don't know if this will help you out, Ted, but right now, even though I'm going live, and I'm going live through Restream, so we can be on both channels, on both Ecamm's channels and my channel, it's still recording onto my hard drive. Actually, I have it going to an external drive. So when this is over, I'll have a file of this broadcast, including anything I put on it and stuff like that. Now, I do believe in the most recent upgrade, and Katie can help with this, is that now you can, if you're doing the interview, it'll actually split the tracks. We'll verify that. So, are you ready? Are you ready to see like behind the live? Something like that. So, here we go. You ready? I got to go to demo mode. Now, you won't see this yet. Live demo mode. Now, let me know in the comments, can you see this? Can you? Oh, look, there's Katie. She's waving. So, I tell you what, if you really want to get meta, how about this? So, I'm gonna do this right now for just a second. And this, oh, it's gonna lock up. Nope, it's looking for the phone, so I won't do that. There we go. There we go. That is my setup right there. Ooh, that's kind of a cool effect, isn't it? So typically, that's the camera right there I start on. I think it's locking up. I may not be able to do this. Yeah, it's locking up. Looking for the phone. So I'm playing with a, wrong camera. I'm playing with a new app called iRan. Is that it? I don't know, iRan camera, and it's supposed to work wirelessly, and I haven't tried that yet like that, so there's a little bit of lag there. Let me see, I'm gonna try one more time. Yeah, see, it's locking up. So I don't know if it's going, looking for iPhone, looking for the phone with a cat. There we go. So right now I'm talking on this camera right to the right, and then typically this is the camera I'm on right there. And then, Ted, if you want to see if it holds up, that's one of the two lights. I actually have two There's one right there. And there's my mega, ginormous Crisis on Infinity Earth poster. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then we can still be friends. But it's a comic book series. All right, yes, we can see it. Thank you very much. So now you see what I see when I'm doing this live mode, and it's a little awkward because I realize that I'm looking off camera, but I had to set my cameras up for this. So if you'll forgive me for not making eye contact for just a moment. These, you can see all the comments right here coming in, and here's the screen. Now this, you can change the size of the screen all you want. I made it bigger here. One of the things I did find out last week when Glenn was on, other than the fact he doesn't like me, I'm just throwing that out. Or is it Ken? I don't know. I get them confused. That when I went to demo mode, I had the windows too small. So that was one of the things I didn't think about that. So, but all this stuff on the screen right here doesn't get broadcast. This is kind of like the dashboard you see. So, if you go to an app and there's the dashboard, you see a lot of the things. Or let's say you go to your YouTube channel, and if you go to it, it'll say customize and some other things up there that nobody else sees. So this is all going on. Tells me how many people are watching right now, which is not always accurate. What I've noticed is there's always more people watching. You can see overlays. You can see the sound levels here. You can see the sound effects board. I like that. That's for when Katie starts talking bad. I have to go, Katie. And then you can see Katie. Wave. So Katie is in the interview in the virtual green room, and I'm going to bring her in just a second. And the reason I was doing this is so you could see what it would look like. And then this is one of the things that I think, and in fact, well, you know what? I'll bring her in now. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Katie Fox.
Thank you. I was getting sick of waiting in the wings.
Okay, there we go. They weren't done. So how are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. I gave Katie like all of a 20-minute notice going, hey, do you want to join me live? And so we can show everybody. And she's like, okay, I'm on it. But don't go to my empty chair, which is always, we'll always have that moment.
We'll always have that moment. We'll always share that moment. We need to post that as like a little GIF or a crazy video clip that we can reshare around. Hey, before I forget, I want to answer Ted's question because I'll forget as the questions and comments come through. So Ted, great question. You currently can't save separate video feeds, which if what you mean is that you want to be able to like separate out my video file from Kevin's, so like the guest video feed versus the host video feed. That's not something that you can do right now in Ecamm. But we did just introduce ISO audio track. So we are working towards that from an audio standpoint for all of our podcasting members. So likely that's something we will look to do in the future, but not right now. What you see is what you get as far as the video file. So whatever overlays you put in, whoever you bring in, it's just one video file that you'll get at the end to be able to use however you want to.
But one of the things that, technically the product is Ecamm Live, but I think one of the things that people, we obviously we talk a lot about live streaming, this is called Behind the Live. It's not called Behind the Tape. It could be a whole nother show. But one of the things that you can do with Ecamm Live, and I do it all the time, is use the record only feature. So like right here, I can't show you because we're recording, but see this finish button, which makes me even nervous to hover near it.
Don't hover near it.
Yeah, don't hover near it. But like right now, since we're sending this to Restream, because we're using Restream to send it to both of our channels, the Ecamm channel and my channel, remember to subscribe, just throwing that in there, that it'll say Restream, or actually it's the R logo, and you click that. Well, if you can use Ecamm to just record. Yeah, and it'll just be a record only. And I do that all the time. In fact, one of my little hacks that I shared before is I always do a run through of the show. Very truncated. So like today, since I had a different camera set up, and I record that, and then I play it back. But the same thing if I'm doing an interview for a video podcast or something like that, you can do that. So So like what Katie's saying is that it creates a file. But here's the beauty. If you want to use Ecamm Live as a very easy way just to record video and cut out a lot of editing, you could do that. Then there's a pause feature. And just don't add graphics then, and then you could take it into Final Cut or whatever you edit on, and then add your graphics just to like a bow on a package.
Or you could add your graphics all the way in, and then the file's done on the other end. I used Ecamm last week, I believe it was, to do my presentation for the Agorapulse Social Pulse Summit, and I just ran my show as if it was a live show, dropped in all my graphics, dropped in everything, hit end, and then I, did a little bit of tweaking on the video and sent it through, and it was pretty quick and easy without needing to do a lot of editing work, which was nice.
That's cool. So let's talk about scenes. And let me ask you that. Did you use scenes then when you were doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. I live and die by scenes. I'm a total planner. If I can't label everything correctly, like I just forget what I'm going to say, and I get easily distracted by other things. I need to be able to go through and make sure that I'm not missing anything that I want to talk about or present. So
yeah. And by the way, somebody did ask. I'm sure is asking, are you on a Mac M1? No, I'm not. I want one.
Yeah.
I want one. Here's the thing. It's so easy. I don't know about you guys. I got everything I need. I don't need another piece of gear. Oh, look at that mic. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. We as a team have a couple that showed up 2 days ago. And I probably should move over on my computer but I just got this MacBook Pro, so I feel like completely frivolous, even though it's my job to be testing these kinds of things out. It just feels like a frivolous spend to be like, this computer is already a month old. Let me get the new Mac.
I know Glenn, and Glenn was doing a video earlier testing it out. I mean, I will probably at some point, because I've got a MacBook Pro and I've got an iMac, and I probably will switch. In fact, I keep hearing the Air is phenomenal. But
yeah, it seems to be. They don't even have a fan in it.
Yeah, but I haven't switched over to Big Sur yet, and I'm just, for me, I'm going to tread cautiously, because the last thing I want to do is break something, and all of a sudden, I can't get my apps to work, and I got to figure out where I'm going to play Sonic the Hedgehog, and that's just horrible. But let's talk a little about scenes. Remember, guys, if you have any questions about my setup, about Katie's earrings, about Ecamm, drop that in the comments, and let's use this time to help and everything like that. Yep, we got that. All right, so let's start with the scenes.
Insight Photos is asking about your audio, actually, Kevin. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine.
Can you talk what mic you're using?
Love your audio because it sounds like a natural voice. So I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. This is not my real voice.
This is my real voice. This is how I generally sound, but I've got this audio processing that I hit, and it's
all of a sudden, I sound like this. I am using for this. I'm using the Rode Video Mic NTG, and I also have this. I've got the cord is the world's longest cord. I've also got the Rode. What is this? The Rode NT USB. This is a phenomenal mic, and I actually had this on a boom, which is the Rode PSA 1. It'll go on any boom. Best boom I've ever had because it would stay in place and it was quiet. And then when I redid my desk, I just decided to put this because it comes with a stand. This is a phenomenal mic, and I would highly recommend it. And I'll give you a little hack. Because my desk is faux wood, I actually bought a cheap mouse pad that I keep the mic on, and that keeps it a little quieter if I'm moving it. Might absorb just a little bit of sound. But this is all right. So let me see. Let me get the shot, and then I'm gonna see if it'll work. All right, you ready? Here we go. No. Now watch. It's gonna look. Looking for phone. Waiting for the connect. There we go. So right now, I've got it hooked up, and it's just going on this pole right here, which I can tell you about that, and it's just plugged right into my computer. This is a phenomenal mic. It's a USB powered mic. I've got it plugged right into a power USB hub. A lot of times I'll take that off, pop it on my camera. Oh, sorry, I forgot Katie. I lost Katie. Katie. And then, but it's really phenomenal. And so what I decided the other day is I wanted to hook it up so I didn't have all the time the mic in front of me. If I stand up, I can just bend it up. Now here's the cool thing, if you really want to know some hacks. So the arm it's on is a newer. Is it newer or newer?
I don't know. It's two E's. N-E-E for anyone that wants to look it up. N-E-W-E-R, yeah.
How do you people in Canada say it?
I'm not going to try. You'll make fun of me.
Never mind. But just say A, right?
I say A for sure.
Yeah, and down in South, we're going like B. So it's a newer. It's actually it's a fraction of the price of the Elgato poles. It's the same thing. It mounts to your desk, and then I had this little. I called it a tabletop boom, but I found out later it was because I bought it like a Guitar Center place. It's actually a little boom for a kickstand for a drum.
Oh, cool.
So I took off the top and put it on there, and that's how I have the mic with just like a $5 ball head. So anyway, long story, but that's how it is. So let's talk about this. So here's the one thing, and Katie chime in. Katie chime in at any time. But
I will.
You can create folders. Sure so can. Like, I have a folder just called YouTube Live, which has different things in it. This is behind the live. I spoke at a virtual conference not too long ago, and I created just a whole different presentation. So I just called it demo because actually part of that talk was demoing Ecamm Live and showing them all things I could do. And you don't have to do this. You can have one folder. You could have multiple folders, and you can how do I want to say it? You can bring things in from other folders. So, like for example, this name and sub. When I hit this, I think it's going to take Katie out. But hang on for one. Just bear with me for a second. Where is it? Oh nope, sorry, wrong one. So that logo right there is right here. Do you see that? But then when I bring Katie back in, do you see it go down there? It goes to that. It goes to that. Yep. So there's so many different ways you can build scenes. You can build them in the order you want to do them. Katie, I'd be love to hear how you do it. Or you can just build them, and then I'm using a Stream Deck to actually, this is an old TV term, punch the show, where I can just, I know that right now this button is Katie only, this button is both of us. I also know if this is going to be tips, but because it's over that camera, I got rid of Katie, and so I'm back.
I'm back.
I'm back. It's like magic. So how do you set up your scenes?
Scenes are great. I don't tend to do a lot of regular shows. I do like one-offs. So I tend to have I don't use folders a lot, just because it's just not how I roll. But I use maybe like 2 or 3 days before I'm ready to go live. I jump into Ecamm Live and actually use it while I'm planning. So I have like literally a sketchbook in front of me, and I'm like, all right, what am I talking about today? Here are my main talking points. And then I think through, how that content is going to flow out. And I create a scene for every single thing, whether it's, so scene 1 is my countdown timer. Scene 2 is just me main on camera. Scene 3 is my lower third that's rolling in that tells people who I am. My scene 4 goes to like a different camera, and it's got my like bullet points on screen that I'm going through. I have them all. And then I'm usually here at home instead of in the office. So I don't have a Stream Deck at the moment at home. I either use hotkeys or I just click down and I just flow through the show using scenes as my as my point. And I always keep an extra scene, like an extra blank scene at the bottom, because inevitably someone asks me to demo something specific or a question comes up because it's live video, and I have that blank scene that I can go to where it's not going to mess up any of my flow of my show or my planning. So I can just jump down to the end, do whatever demo I need to do or whatever thing that people are asking me for, and then pop back up into my scenes and work my way through. But that being said, I know like a ton of people like you, Kevin, who have multiple folders and scenes all in it, so that you don't have to worry about going back in every single time and reinventing the wheel because you're doing a regular show or multiple regular shows. You can use that kind of as a way to save. So it's, your content's all there. You can jump in, make any tweaks you want, and then choose to either lock your scenes or unlock them depending on what you're doing.
Rebecca is asking, and by the way, hey, from Iran, we had that. Am I looking at the back end of Ecamm Live? You are. So
you sure are. We're behind this.
We're behind the live to get meta on you. And so this is exactly what you would see if you were using it. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, I've got overlays open, I've got sound levels open, I've got sound effects. There's also other things like, settings, preferences. Mm-hmm. The interview features here. This is comment window right here. Mm-hmm. So I turned on as much as I could so you could get an idea of it.
Yeah, and all of this is repositionable. So like here where we are in this main window, that is the center window, which you're going to want to keep open because that's where you're putting everything. That's your feed out. But everything that's around us, all of those windows, those are all the various features within Ecamm Live, and they are all. You can click to show all of them. You can have none of them open. You can change their size, reposition. So everyone has kind of a different way that they want to position those things. I've been playing with putting my comments in like a bigger window below my main screen so that they're kind of, a little bit lower down and kind of out of the way of some of the other stuff that I'm doing. But you can close them, you can open them, you can move them all around so that you figure out exactly how you want your layout to go to make it the most efficient for you.
So Times Masquerade is saying, so folders are a type of preset.
Kind of, yeah. So Ecamm Live is really built to be a full production studio, but we also want it to be easy enough and nimble enough that you can jump into it and just go live without any planning. You can just go live and jump in and start interacting with people. So the scenes and overlays and all the different features are there for you to be able to do on the fly, like a lot of what we're doing right now, or plan out ahead and be able to click through. And Ecamm will hold everything that you've done. So, if you've on the other side of the show, Kevin turns off Ecamm Live, he goes and has dinner with his family, comes back 2 days later, opens it up again. Everything that he had set up when he was last live is all still there, unless he actively deleted it. It's all set up the way that he had it. So it does kind of let you create your own preset, and you can certainly design all of your own kinds of layouts and make the show look exactly how you want it to look. And Ecamm just lets you do that either planned out in advance or completely on the fly as you're live.
Like one of the things, I'll bring in this question to also show you something. So like, since you're looking at the screen, you'll see the comments here, add to broadcast. So Volk95 is saying the new MacBook M1 work with Ecamm. Before we answer that, I chose red here because red, white, black, and a certain shade of blue, those are kind of my brand colors. I love red. It just pops. But you could go in and have this be white on black. It could be clear, so you can even do that to customize it. Now the question is, will the new MacBook M1 work with Ecamm?
Yeah, so we just got our new M1s literally 2 days ago, so it does work. We are still doing a bunch of testing, so it is working. But certainly, if you see anything weird or anything happens, or you have any specific questions, the best place to reach us is by either being part of one of our communities, so either the Ecamm Live community or the Ecamm Beta group, which are both Facebook groups. You can reach us directly there, or you can always go to our site, ecamm.com, and then click the little orange bubble on the bottom right-hand corner and reach us directly. So yes is the short answer, but slight patience. Just because our app is working doesn't mean that every app that works with ours is working. So your your setup may be affected as we slowly figure out how to get everything up and running. So it's something to pay attention to.
So, the funny thing is, I don't use the demo mode that much. I'm actually forgetting that you guys right now can see the comments. I'm bringing in the comments like you can't see them.
Well, you're showing the act of bringing them in. That's yes, important.
I am a professional. But one of the things that Rebecca also asked this question: what is the best strategy? I'll do it again. What is the best strategy for punching things in and out for the show? Well, let me show you the tool that I use, and I'm going to attempt to use my phone again. We'll see. So this right here, and I don't know, it's backwards, and it's just, again, this is an app I tried. It's just not working that much. But this is my Stream Deck. So I'm going to go back now to the 2-shot, and I think, I'm wondering, Katie, maybe, can you see this? Can you see this?
Yep.
My Stream Deck?
Yep.
Okay, so this gives you an idea, guys, of the power of a Stream Deck. I'm going to see if I can make it a little bigger. So I'm going to move. See, this is one of the things Katie was talking about a second ago, how you can move windows around. So like right now, I'm just going to close overlays. But this right here. Come back. This right here is exactly what my Stream Deck looks like, and the reason,
and it's all customizable.
Sorry,
it's all customizable, so you can depending on the size of your Stream Deck and what you want it to do, you can basically tell the Stream Deck what actions you want it to take when you press certain buttons. So it certainly makes it a lot easier.
So like now, so just imagine I'm pressing the physical Stream Deck, but what'll happen is when I do this, notice it changed, and the green box will be around it. And that's why, to me, people always ask, well, is that a must-have? I think it is. Now you have to make that decision.
Yeah.
I started with a 6-button one and did one live stream and thought, I'm sending that back. And I had a 15 button for a long time, and I just decided to go with a 32 button. But if you notice on here, I have things specifically laid out. I mean, there's the name sub, and here's a little trick I found the other day, is in naming these. See, like right here, you can go in when you're configuring something, and you can actually add a text to it and make it bigger. So now when I'm glancing at it, I see just guest out of the corner of my eye, where it's easier, if that makes sense. And you can fill this up as much as you want, but I have a bunch of other profiles. When it copied over copy, there's YouTube Live, home. So I'll show you this. So this is how I use it every day.
That's awesome.
And because I am lazy, I can just, I can launch Ecamm Live from here, Word, there's Restream, Vidyard, I mean, whatever. And to me, it's just easy. So now for this, I go back there, and then there it is. And here's the other beautiful thing, is that there is a built-in Ecamm Live comes integrated, integrated, right, into Stream Deck. So you can decide to use any of these commands. I'm going to close this. What I end up doing is I use run scene for almost everything. And then I go over here and I go, okay, for this one, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And let me show you something else I do that I would highly recommend is, like right now, Katie is locked. I call it me and guest. And there's a guest link, and there's just guest only. So again, if I go to guest, you'll see her pop on. If I do this, well, this is locked. And the reason I do that sometimes is because if I go to my camera, I'm going to take Katie out for 1 second right here, and I add something over that, it becomes part of that scene. And so I may not want that. So that's why you may see duplicates on here of M6, me, same thing. When you create a new scene, it's just going to say this, new scene. And the reason it switched to this camera is because this is my default camera. So that's another thing, is that I have it set up to my M6. that's usually my main camera. So it immediately defaults to that and thinks, oh, okay, Kevin wants to add a scene there. I could bring in a picture-in-picture. I can do so much stuff with it. So I hope this is helping. I love this.
Yeah.
It's like a Swiss Army knife.
It is. And actually, on that front, Rebecca, if you're just getting into live streaming, or you're not quite sold yet on purchasing or picking up an additional gear like the Stream Deck, you can also trigger any of these commands either just with your mouse, or there's hotkeys for almost all of them. So you could just post up the hotkey command sheet and memorize a couple of those, and then that makes it a little bit easier too. So there's lots of different ways to kind of quote unquote punch things up in Ecamm Live, but certainly I think Stream Deck is the easiest. But you can kind of work your way up to that depending on what your budget is and what you're trying to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like, so let me throw this up because I think this kind of goes in here. So Time's saying, so you can use Stream Deck for more than just Ecamm Live. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything that you can program a keystroke with on a mouse, on a keyboard, you can do that too. If you remember when I showed you how I use it just every day with the shortcuts to my websites, I mean, I have everything on there from like notes to messages to Final Cut. So it'll trigger. You could even, and I tried this once, but I just didn't care for it as much. You could even create hotkeys for Final Cut Pro or whatever you're editing on, and then literally use that as shortcuts. So yes, you can use it for a ton of things. But like Katie said, if you're just starting out and you're not going to have a gazillion scenes and you're wanting to get used to it, look, I mean, if your very first scene is going to be I call splat. That's the old PC days. I don't know what you call this command. Splat 1, splat 2. So, play with it. Wouldn't you say, Katie, just kind of get used to it first?
Yeah, and I mean, you can play with it in record-only mode if you don't want to be out there playing publicly, or you can actually opt to just go live broadcast just to yourself on Facebook. So if you wanted to see what the live feels like and be able to play around with things, you can do that as well.
Some other things that you will see on this screen now. Again, everybody's screen would be the same. It just depends on what you've got open and how much you've got in it, right? So, like, for example, when this broadcast is over, all these comments go away. I mean, they'll live on YouTube, but they'll go away from here, right? So you kind of start with a clean slate. The interview window I could close. I chose not to put our names in, but if I did, they should show up. Oh, there it is. Very small. But, so I just ended up choosing, and there's animations you can add and stuff like that as well. I can immediately change. Can't I? Oh, you know what? I got the scene lock.
You have the scene locked, yeah. I fall for that all the time.
Keeping score at home. See, and then I can just change just like that. But once I locked her in, this is the power of locking a scene. I can't change it. And that is powerful. And when Katie talks, she's right here.
Yep, I'm here. You can see me.
So I can even adjust her audio too on the fly, and that's nice. And then what happens is with the interview feature, this is another thing too, which you won't see, is there's a link automatically generated. And so I can copy that link. I send it to her. Sometimes what I'll do is, like when we were running a contest a couple of times or something like that, I'll regenerate a new link just to kind of refresh it. But these are just some of the ways that I produce, at least showing you what it looks like. Now, if you think it's overwhelming, I mean, if you're not used to this, I can see you going, holy crap, I can't ever do that. But you don't have to use all this. Yeah. Wouldn't you say, Katie, just start like small and kind of grow?
Start with your built-in webcam that's built into your computer, and the microphone that's built into your computer, or maybe built into a headset or headphones that you have, and go from there. And then start making tweaks. Sound is the most important one to do first, because people have no patience for not being able to hear what you're saying. And then cameras. I've been using I have a Nikon D7200. It's not a new camera. I think I got it like 5 years ago. now. I use it for just like family photography around the house, but it works fine for live streaming, plugging it in with a USB cable right into my computer, and it takes me to the next level and improves my quality. So it definitely makes a big difference. But yeah, start small and work your way up.
Something else too. I don't know if you noticed. You can notice. So when I went to Katie's camera a second ago, because you can see in the interview, I did that so I could take a swig of water. So if you weren't in this demo mode, it allows you then to like do something else while you're doing that. And then also I added a watch. So you'll see on my mic right here. Watch right here. So on the Stream Deck, I've added the mute button, which is part of the Stream Deck thing. So like, because I remembered when she was talking a second ago and I was fiddling with my water bottle, I muted my mic so you didn't hear the sound of plastic in your ear as she was talking.
Yeah. And there's some more questions coming in here. Should we take a look here at these?
Yes.
Looks like Shane wants to know, arranging all windows seems to pull all windows into configured arrangement. Is there any way to customize the arrangement that this triggers? That's a good question, actually. I don't know if I know the answer to that. It does kind of snap into a prearranged. I don't think you can change the default of what it snaps to, but you can immediately move any of them. That's good feedback, though. I can take that back to the guys and see if that is the case. Maybe there's a way that we could make that customizable.
I'm trying to point the right direction. Katie,
I know, I never do.
To ask.
I never do.
Here's another one.
The possibility to build a new scene during a live stream without the viewer seeing it. Yeah, so that's been a really big ask, and that's actually next up on our list. So we're calling it preview mode. It's been in OBS for a long time now. So yeah, we're just trying to figure out the best way to roll it out in a way that's not distracting for those who don't want to use it. So yeah, definitely upcoming soon. Hang in there. If you're not part of our beta group, it's a really great place to jump into and make these suggestions. And beta users also get the first testing of all of the features that are about to roll out. So that's when that's coming soon. So jump over into that group and you can try it before anyone else.
Yeah, and the beauty is, I mean, the Ecamm guys really listen. I mean, they're interested in feedback. I mean, it's a small company too, which is great.
Yeah.
Rebecca is asking, I own a MacBook Air, not only using the camera that's built into the computer. When I go live, it appears blurry. Is that due to the built-in? What are ways around it?
Huh. Okay, this may be a really stupid thing to say, Rebecca, but have you tried literally just like taking your shirt or whatever and just dusting it off where it is? I have fallen for that so many times when I'm using my built-in, because on a laptop like the Air, that's also where you're opening and closing your computer. And so it might be blurry because there's just a thumbprint or a number of thumbprints over it. If that's not the case, I'm not sure. Maybe, Kevin, maybe
the FaceTime camera is only so good. I mean, it's just only so good. Now, I will say this, though. If you've got a tight budget, you're low on cash, and there's nothing wrong with that, and you're wanting to get started, and that's the only camera you have, use it. I mean, use it. Your content and your value and what you're bringing is far more important than any gear ever. But it could very well just be that it's just not that. Well, I have mine disabled. I mean, one of the things that, again, another feature Ecamm I like, if I go up to camera, it says re-enable built-in camera. So I actually have it. That was a feature in one of the mini upgrades where now
I can turn mine on. Oh, I'm not clear anymore. I'll mess it later.
So notice all the cameras up here that I have an option to, right? And by the way, this is another guest feature. So when you bring the one guest in, it'll automatically, here's another guest.
There's mine.
Yep. Now see,
so this is my built-in camera, and see, like, I always just kind of go up there and double check when I'm using it. It does seem to make a bit of a difference just cleaning it, and then also like well lit. You do have some control too over in the. I'm going over into my Ecamm now. I'm using Ecamm as well. Like, I can zoom in and out of it, and then I can control things like the brightness of it and the temperature of it. So even though it's quote unquote just a built-in camera, you still do have a decent amount of control over what how you can make it look. So
I would definitely try just to see is the lens is it dirty? Lighting will make a huge impact. These are the camera effects that she was talking about that you have.
Yeah, sorry, you can see mine.
Here, so like right now, you can zoom and pan, and zoom and pan is a really cool effect because like if I'm on my other camera, in fact, let me show you. I'll lose Katie again, but don't go anywhere, Katie. So let me show you. So this was a presentation I gave, and I'm going to go over to the demo mode, but you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Now it's gonna go to the other camera. Where is it? Me TV. So if I go to here and I slide over, right? So what happened is this is a video that I used as an overlay. There's no sound, and it's just looping through. And I was talking about how I used to work in television and all what happened there. But the reason how I got this effect right here is I used the zoom and pan effect, where I literally just zoomed into this shot and panned over just enough to place that, and then I made sure that when I took that shot, I was kind of sitting where I needed to, right? And you can do that, and it's a great effect. Now, if you're in 4K, it's more forgiving because you can zoom in a little bit more and it just not lose anything. So that's how you can use a zoom and pan, but you can mess with brightness and everything. And right now, keep in mind my M6 is going through the cam link, right? But I could right now adjust this camera and see I could come up. I can change the brightness. I can change the temperature. I can change the tint, which means I ate some bad lunch. And then you can just reset quickly. So that's a huge thing you can do, and it will. And the beauty is, and I actually forgot this, I can actually adjust Katie's too. Now it's not focus. So I mean, if my camera's out of focus, it's just going to be out of focus. And by the way, on both cameras I use facial tracking. That's another reason I love Canons, because they're that good. I did have an issue last week with Glenn, but I think it ended up being a lighting thing more than anything. But get out of that. But you can actually, let me go back to I don't use green screen at all. I am not a fan of green screen. If you were ever one of my coaching clients, I would never ever recommend you use green screen. Because I can't say it is one of the reasons. But you can do that. There's zoom and pan, camera options. You can do mirror, which because I'm on the wrong camera. Tell you what, let me go to this camera right here and just show you so I can mirror it. Oh, again, remember, because I lock scenes, you can mirror it. Now, actually, it's not.
It's happening in your interview window and not on your.
Yeah, well, there we go. You can rotate 180. Yeah, for some reason it's not doing that. So I'm going to go back to us. I'm dying to do a show upside down, but that's a whole nother thing.
I've been playing nonstop with that, and then with Snap Camera. Have you played with Snap Camera?
No.
Yeah, okay, here. I will play for a second. The marvelous Tim Son, who I am just adoring and loving more and more every day. We did an entire broadcast on how to make your live streams more memorable, and allow me to show you how crazy some of this is. So this is a free app that you can get in addition to Ecamm Live, and then you just bring it in. One sec. Bear with me.
And what's it called?
It's called Snapcam. So here I am.
Oh. You're a croissant.
So here I am as a croissant. It's basically just Snapchat, all of their crazy filters. So here I am as a banana. Here I am as a potato. There are ones that are not as ridiculous as this. One sec. Let me see if I can find some cute ones. But it's just a fun way to be able to just get a little silly.
Do that
play around a little bit. But it can be done in a really, really clever way. Stephanie Liu is another one that does it here and there. Like when she's doing a presentation and it has a theme, she did an entire series of talks where she was talking and using The Greatest Showman as an example of ways to present in live streaming. And she, in and out of the video, would just add a top hat and and this like very kind of carnival filter to the back. Yeah. So it can be a really fun way to do that. But yeah, thinking through, I always thought the upside down thing was silly and ridiculous, and then I got into Snapcam and I was like, oh wait, there's fun things that you can do. So
one question here. No, there is no stupid question ever. Use a deity mic
attached
to my M50 to record video. Should I take the mic cover off to increase the volume of recording indoors? That's a great question, and I think you're going to get different answers. I actually keep I've got it over there. So all my mics are Rhodes, which I realize sounds like a country song, but they are. I just like Rode mics. Deity mic is good too, and there's a lot of Deity and Rode mics that are pretty much the same. In fact, this version of the Rode NTG, I think Deity's version came out first and is almost identical. I've always heard to leave it on just because it gives you just a little bit more sound proofing. I mean, it's not quite a pop filter, but you're going to get a slightly maybe more hollow effect. Now, you may say, well, what about boom mics that don't have them on there? That's true. I just typically leave mine on, and I haven't found out. Like, I've got a dead cat on my Rode VideoMic Pro Plus that I usually shoot a lot with on my camera, and I keep it on all the time indoors, and I've never heard a muffled sound to it. So, but I would say experiment. Record with it on, record with it off, and see what you think. I mean, the beauty is even in Final Cut, you can tweak your audio and make it sound a lot better, as long as you had as good as audio recorded as you could. So, Katie, what have we missed? Anything you want to say before I kick you out? I mean, I'm sorry, before we
before I leave, because I'm very busy. No, just joking. I'm just looking through here. I don't think so. I think we covered most of the things. I mean, I would say, like every single live streamer out there says, that it can feel really overwhelming when you're just getting started. So start really small, start safe. So start by recording only, or going to a group with just your best friend. I literally have a Facebook group that's just me and my best friend. And every time before I go live and I'm feeling nervous, I go in with her and and I'm like, how does this sound? Leave me some comments. Let me tweak how my comments come in and look. It's just
a great idea.
Give yourself some credit and remind yourself that people are not expecting a live broadcast to be perfect. They're expecting it to be real, and they're there to learn something or to gain some value from you. So do your best to not let the technology and some of the awesome gear and even the software overwhelm you. Just take it one step at a time. Ecamm has a lot of windows, and if you're get your sketch pad out before you jump into anything and say, what am I actually trying to share with people?
Yeah.
And how do I want to go about sharing that? And if there's too many windows in Ecamm, close them all down. Close them until you only have the main things that you need to focus on, and then just build your way up and layer up as you go. But yeah, we believe in you, and we're here to help you throughout. So definitely jump into the group, keep watching Behind the Live, ask questions, and see what other people are doing. You'll pick up a lot of tips as you go.
Yeah. And the best thing to do is just try. Just
try.
Just do it and give yourself a lot of grace too. But I think Katie had a very key point that I think people forget, is that and I try to be a perfectionist, so I struggle with this. Is that there's a difference in giving a presentation and then maybe just live streaming. Things happen, and honestly, it kind of makes it real. It's like when my camera was, or my phone was locking up earlier, which didn't when I tried it earlier. Roll with it. It happens. I mean, we were joking about the empty chair. It happens, and I think, but you also learn from that too. So anyway,
yep, absolutely.
Katie, thanks for being on.
My pleasure.
All right, say bye to Katie. Bye. Let's give her a big round of applause. Watch this. All right.
Bye, everyone.
So I am going to pop out of live demo, and I'm going over here to say hey and everything. So I hope you got a lot out of this. I hope that it gave you another kind of an example of what you can do with Ecamm, just kind of the bells and whistles. And again, like she said, don't get overwhelmed with all the things. Maybe start small. And there is a link down in the description if you want to try it for 14 days free. And it's just great. It's my go-to for my Mac, and I love it. So I'm Kevin. I hope you subscribe to the channel. If you got some value out of this, share it, and Ecamm's too. And I'll see you next time. Peace out!
Put the needle on the record.